This is the brand new third generation BMW 1 Series, the latest iteration of the company's rival to the Audi A3 and the Mercedes-Benz A-Class. And it's not just the new design outside or the tech-laden new interior that are particularly noteworthy, because unlike the previous rear drive model, this one is based on the UKL transverse front or all-wheel drive architecture that we already know from the X1 SUV. And that's a pretty big philosophical change. Of course, it boasts more rear legroom and a bigger boot, which is quite a bonus in this class. We're here in beautiful Munich on the global premiere a few months out from the Australian launch. Let's take a further look. Australia is a performance car market, so suitably enough, we have the M135i flagship here. Now that beautiful old longitudinal 3-litre inline-six in all its sonorous glory has had to go by the wayside, but is replaced by BMW's most powerful 4-cylinder engine that is ever made, excluding its days in Formula 1, of course. It's a 2-litre engine with 225 kilowatts of power and 450 newton meters of torque. It's got an 8-speed automatic transmission with torque converter and paddle shifters mated to it, a Torsen-style LSD on the front axle and a launch control system, allowing a 0 to 100 time of just 4.8 seconds. Makes a pretty good rival for the likes of the AMG A35 and the Audi S3. Now, interestingly, the company has said it's not going to make an even more hardcore 1 Series to take on the frankly bonkers new A45 AMG, Audi RS3 or Ford Focus RS, because the next generation M2, which will remain a rear-wheel drive proposition, will fly the flag on that front.
The new engine is actually a ripper, with instantaneous delivery from its rapid spooling twin-powered turbo setup, ample torque just off idle, and an inducted exhaust note that's never try-hard or overtly crackly on the overrun. The speed-sensitive electric steering is direct, and the ride quality on 2-mode adjustable dampers suitably soft in the latter and firm and taut in the former. Yet neither negatively throws out the body control or comfort over corrugations beyond an acceptable point. While the all-wheel drive system cannot send more than 50% of the engine's outputs to the rear, the M135i xDrive nevertheless feels quite agile and anything but neutral or understeery. Tech includes a slip control module fitted to the ECU that removes the need for a secondary relay for faster responses, plus a system that brakes the inside front wheel to reduce push understeer. I'm convinced that the adherence to a rear-wheel drive layout in a car like this is philosophical only. I understand for some it will be a deal breaker, but in suitable hands this car really does remain a weapon. At the other end of the range is the base 118i that uses a lighter version of the 1.5-litre turbocharged 3-cylinder, making 103 kilowatts and 220 newton meters. Mated to this is a new 7-speed dual-clutch transmission in place of the old 8AT, channeling power to the front wheels. BMW promises combined cycle fuel use of 5 litres every 100 k's and a 0 to 100 time of 8.5 seconds. Alas, we did not have the opportunity to drive this engine at the launch in Munich this week, so we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. Oddly, there's no replacement for the old Golf GTI rivaling 125i at launch, though something like it is in the pipeline. This bookending approach clearly leaves a massive hole in BMW's range for the time being. Before moving on, we'll note that every single 1 Series sports a multi-link independent suspension setup, in contrast to the base Mercedes-Benz A-Class models with their cheaper torsion beam. One BMW engineer said to us that it's quite clear that Daimler's decision was not remotely one that BIMA would consider. Zing. The new one's design is subjective, but what it loses in rear-wheel drive proportions I think it makes up for with muscular sculpting and a particularly striking use of the signature front kidney grille. It's actually 5mm shorter overall than before and is 20mm shorter between the wheels, though it's both wider and taller. Rear occupants in this 1 Series no longer need to deal with tiny door apertures and a huge centred drive shaft hump, and have more head, shoulder and knee room and get 2 USB-C inputs and air vents. The 380-litre boot is 20 litres bigger than before and stacks up against a VW Golf's. The cockpit is oriented towards the driver. Behind the wheel is a digital instrument display with various layouts and mapping. Above this is a projecting head-up display that shows you speed and navigation instructions onto the windscreen in your field of vision. Glance to your right and you find a 10.25-inch screen facing you, running BMW's version 7 operating system that sports configurable homepage widgets, gesture controls, a touchscreen, the iDrive rotary dial, and a voice-controlled personal assistant that responds to a "Hey BMW" prompt. If you tell it you're too warm, it puts on the AC, and if you say you're too tired, it pumps tunes and blows freezing air at you. It also handles more prosaic tasks like the AC, audio, navigation and telephony, and the system will be constantly updated and refined over the air. You'll note that this gives BMW a formidable answer to Mercedes-Benz's groundbreaking MBUX system used in the aforementioned A-Class. The connected experience comprises wireless Apple CarPlay and various BMW remote monitoring apps, plus you can use near-field communication to make your smartphone your key fob. From a driver assistance angle, you get steering assist, radar-guided cruise control, blind spot monitoring and all the rest, plus one function that remembers your last 50 metres of forward driving and follows the identical path in reverse, steering autonomously. So the new 1 Series is a philosophical change that won't appeal to everyone. But credit where it's due, this is a high-tech, practical and dynamically adept hatchback. The lineup is minimalist, but it covers the sweet spots and should secure a lot of new buyers. For more information, you can find the written review on this car at caradvice.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment or question below.